All right. Hi, this is Told. Welcome to my Aetherspark review. Uh, I believe in chaos, so some people might look at like rares or mythics or whatever, but I just picked out the cards that I like, and I want to talk about them. So yeah, we have about 53 or so to go through. Let's get into it because that's a lot. The first one up was we got this Aetherspark. Oh, I guess we go through these too. I got Spicy for the S tier, A tier is all good. B for the, just the brah. What's up? C's for combos, and D, you don't want to do that. Yeah, you don't play that card. Yeah, first up, Aetherspark. 4 mana for Planeswalker artifact equipment. Can't be attacked when it's equipped to a creature, and you plus it for equip it. You minus it to draw 2 cards, and you minus 10 to get 10 mana. So realistically, you can get what you play this, then you equip it, you attack in, then you have 10 counters. If you have it on a 5 power creature, it just can do damage to anything. I'm gonna put this at a B. It's pretty cool, but it has to be attached to a creature. You need creatures to have it on. The metas right now is like creature heavy removal, so B. Aganosaurus Rex. 3 and 2 green for an 8/8 with trample. I could stop there, but you could also cycle it if you don't have 5 mana and put 2+1/+1 counters on a creature or vehicle and give it trample and indestructible until end of turn. So basically, you could save your creature. If you had a 6/6 creature, you could turn into an 8/8 creature with trample and indestructible. Just with the game. Pretty solid card. I might even go up to Spicy with this one. Just an 8/8 for 5 mana. Might be pretty good. Might be playable. Oh, the Verges. Oh man, that's a S tier if I ever saw it. So, I don't know. I haven't really covered it, but now we have the full set of the Verges. We're gonna have 3 color decks are gonna be great. I had a list. Let me just pick this up off the floor. So yeah, blue, black, and green with the primary color of blue. Green, black, and white with the primary color of green. White, red, and blue with primary white. Primary red, blue, and green. And black, white, and red. Those are the decks. Primary black, white, red. Verges, S tier. Your mana is going to be cleaned up so good. Even if you just do the allied colors and you have some of the surveil lands. I was looking at the Micro Tyrant deck today. Might have a video for that coming up soon, depending on when I release this one, when I release that one. But I basically just have the 2 Verges that we have for the allied colors. And so once you get the 3rd one, then you'll have 12 lands that are dual lands. They don't come in tapped. And you just need like a couple other, like a mountain or something or a forest. Pretty tits up. Bounce off. Not good. It's a good card. Better than Unsummon. It's an upgrade because you can return a vehicle as well as a creature. So pretty good. I do feel like, like Unsummon, Duress, Torch the Tower, whatever that 1 mana. The 1 mana red 2, and you could pay extra for the kicker. Line of War Elves, and I don't know what white has for 1 mana. That's like a must play. But yeah, Unsummon pretty much must play 4 of in your hand just to stay alive. Blade Gas, Gear Hulk. 2 green, 2 white, 4/4. First strike trample is pretty good. Like those stats. And then when it enters, you search your library for 2 artifacts, creatures, or enchantments with mana value 1 or less. Reveal them, put them into your hand, then shuffle. I don't think we have any 0 cost stuff in standard. So obviously has to do with like other formats type of situation. I think this could be broken. I don't want to put it, it's not like C is a C tier, like these ones are kind of like rated there. C is just kind of like combo ready, like it's a good card. 4 mana, first strike, trample for 4/4. Pretty good card. But I think this is a combo card because I think you need those 1 mana spells to make it good. So yeah, Bulwark Ox. 1 and 1 white for 2/2. When it attacks while saddled, you put a +1/+1 counter on target creature. So you don't have to put it on this, you can put it on something else. And then you can sacrifice it, and then creatures you control with counters gain hexproof and indestructible until end of turn. There's it's all creatures, not just the one. There was like that bodyguard that we used to have, and I think it was just you sack it to save one creature, and that was pretty bomb. This you could sacrifice it to save all your creatures that have counters on them. They could be flying counters, they could be +1 counters, they could be stun counters, anything. I think this is a pretty good card. I'm gonna put it in the good, in the A tier. Like S tier is probably like, you probably need to play this, but B is decent enough. Probably, maybe not even so. Captain Howler, Sea Scavenger. 2 and a blue and a red for a 5/4. Ward 2, pay 2 life. So it's got like double ward. So you gotta spend 4 mana to kill it with like a 2 mana spell and 2 life. This thing's like S tier, bro. There is going to be a deck. So whenever you discard 1 or more cards, target creature gets +2/+0 until end of turn for each card. Discard this way. And then whenever it deals damage, you draw a card. So you discard your whole hand of 5 cards. It gives +10/+0. And then you draw another card. And if you discarded them using like the Tunnel Grinder or something. It also has Ward 2. Did I mention that? And pay 2 life. So it's very difficult to remove this card. Really easy. It could be in the combo game, but there is going to be a discard your hand is a deck for sure. And as we get along, we will see that. These are in no particular. These are in alphabetical order, I think. Caradora, Heart of Alcrea, Sorada. Anyway, 2 green and a white 4/2. Don't even try. When Caradora enters, search your library for a mount or vehicle, reveal it, put it into your hand, then shuffle. If 1 or more +1/+1 counters are put on a creature or vehicle, put +1/+1 counters on it instead. I think this is just a brach. 4 mana for a 4/2 that dies to a 1 mana burn spell. Kind of sucks, but you do get to get a mount, so it does replace itself. It's not too bad. It's definitely not a D. And I don't think it's like a combo card. I mean, maybe C is bad. Maybe this is a combo card. Maybe it is. I'm gonna go with that. Cloudspire Coordinator. 1 red, 1 white. 1 red, 1 white. This is definitely a combo card. I don't even need to read it. This creature enters Scry 2. Pretty great deal. You get to set up your next 2 draws, or at least get rid of the garbage on top. Your mana flooding, you get rid of 2 lands on top. And you can tap it, so it doesn't have haste. So that's be aware of. 1/3 for 2 mana, do nothing. And then you could tap it to create X/1/1 pilot token creatures, where X is the number of mount or vehicles that enter the battlefield under your control this turn. The tokens have this token saddles mounts and crews for +2 power greater. Sure. Yeah. I mean, I'd rather have it be a 1/3 or I don't know, dies a cut down. Pretty bad. It's kind of bad, but it's definitely a combo piece that I'm looking forward to brewing with. You could probably put it over here as a don't play. It's kind of really bad. I mean, it does crew for 3, but I'm going to use it as a combo piece because I think with another round, that if we blink all of our creatures, so mount up all our vehicles, and then blink them out with another round, and then make a bunch of pilots. Maybe kill them. I don't know. Count on luck. Brah, man, this is good stuff, man. This is almost spicy level. Get that. Red gets card draw every turn for 3 mana. I mean, there's like the artist talent. That doesn't really draw you cards. Like, it's almost spicy level. It's definitely like in front of this card. Whatever's. It's A to spicy. Like, in mono red, yeah, let's give you a card. Maybe I'm going to pump it up to spicy. Because this thing... add it to a current mono red, right? Where they have like all these 1 mana spells. So they either get a land or a spell, and they can cast that spell because it's 1 mana, and you needed 3 mana to cast this. So, and you can cast the card you drew. It's just ridiculous. Crypt Caller, Chariot, 3 and a black for a 5/5 menace vehicle. Whenever you discard 1 or more cards, create that many tapped zombie tokens. So not only do you have, black or red and blue getting into this game, you got black added in there. This is a combo piece. I mean, you have to discard cards. It also, like for 4 mana, it's kind of pricey as far as it goes, but you do make a bunch of zombies, and you can discard cards on your opponent's turn to instantly make a creature token. Oh, tapped. Yeah, it does say tapped. Debris beetle. Got that debris. The debris beetle, 2, a black and a green for 6/6. Trample. So 6/6 with trample for 4. When it accrue to 2, not too bad. But when it enters, each opponent loses 3 life and you gain 3 life. So pretty good. I like it. I'm putting it in a told combo piece. Is it pretty solid? Like, it could almost be in the bruh status. But I think to really get, like, I just want to blink this a bunch of times, or return it to my hand pixie bounce style, or let it die and return it from the graveyard, or something. I feel like it's just black combo piece all day. We could put it up in the Brazalo. That's a good one. That's a pretty decent one. Defend the Rider. 1 green. You choose 1. Target permanent. Okay, it's hexproof indestructible. So Tamio's Safekeeping left. No one paid attention, but it was a card that I really loved because you could target your permanent, so they try to destroy your artifact or enchantment. You could protect it. We didn't have that ability for 6 months. Now we have it back for 3 years. Also, you could choose to create a pilot token instead at instant speed. I think this is just a good card. Like, usable in every green deck. And, it always, like, when you're looking for stuff to protect your creatures, you could put this in there, and it also protects your, like, you don't need to use Tyvar Stand anymore. You could just use this. And sure, there's, nowhere to run for the hexproof indestructible, which kind of sucks. But I guess that also affects permanents, maybe? I don't know. Little Mount Your Dog. District Mascot. I like jokes and it's fun. So 1, and this creature enters with a +1/+1 counter on it. I saw some people talking like this is like, that old soldier where you can remove 2 counters and destroy an artifact or enchantment. So, that card you could take +1/+1 counters from any creatures, any cards that you controlled. This you have to remove 2 from this thing, and so you have to attack with this while saddled. So like on turn 2, you cast a 1 power creature, you saddle this, you attack in, hopefully they don't block it. Now you have 2 +1/+1 counters on it. You can only destroy artifacts. It can't even do enchantments. Don't, bro. Get out of here. I don't care about your fun corgi mounting this, however inappropriate it is. Not good. It is a gold card as well. Yeah, no. Dynamite Diver. 1 for a 1/1 goblin pilot. Saddles and crews for greater. 2 power greater. Which I wonder, like, there's some red mounts or red vehicles. There's that one that does a 5 damage. I wonder if that needs a crew power. I wonder what that crew is. If it's 3 or not, that would be pretty sweet. But anyway, when this creature dies, it deals 1 damage to any target. So there's the black enchantment creature that does this. You're either attacking, like your bats and stuff. I'll put it in good. It's a good card. I like a 1 mana. You got a chump blocker that can kill a 2/2. They attack in with their Swift Spear. They don't have a pump spell. You could block their Swift Spear and kill it at the same time. Pretty nice. Pretty good card. Earth Rumbler, 4 and a green for a 7/6 vehicle that has vigilance and trample, and you can exile an artifact or creature card from your graveyard to crew this, basically, or to turn into an artifact creature. You have crew, or you can do 3. So I really like vehicles that can crew that you don't need creatures on the board. So if a sweeper happens, you can. It's actually pretty great unless it's Sunfall, because a sweeper happens, they kill all your creatures. Now you can just exile it, or maybe you just sweep the board yourself, exile it, and then you have a 7/6 Vigilance Trampler. I'm gonna put this in the A tier. It's pretty good card. It's a pretty pricey, but in the right deck, maybe I'll put it high, bruh. I'm gonna put it high, bruh. Because it's kind of expensive. 5 mana is a bit much. We just saw this 5 mana for 8/8, and it's always a creature. But this one, you could crew it and protect it, so it has its built-in protection. So yeah, maybe it does need to go up there if that's in spicy, or maybe this needs to come down to A tier. If we put this to A tier, then we could put this into bruh. Elvish Refueler, 2 and a green for 2/3. And then during your turn, if you haven't activated an exhaust ability, you can exhaust an ability that you may activate an exhaust ability as though they didn't been exhausted. And one example of that is you can exhaust itself during your turn to put a +1/+1 counter on this. If exhaust is actually a thing, which I think it's going to be probably better than Start Your Engines, in my opinion. Start Your Engines is kind of gimmicky, and what is it? Turn 2, you're at 2. Turn 3, you're at 3. Turn 4, 1, you're at 2. 2, you're at 3. 3, you're at 4. So the quicker you can get the max speed is turn 4 with a Ginger Brute and Colorless Land that starts your engines. But most likely you're going to get it on turn 4. Exhaust, though, you could use it whenever, right? And that's assuming that they have no blockers for you or whatever. Embalm Descendant, 1 white, 1 black, 1/2 zombie. Start your engines. When this creature enters, create a zombie. So it's a 3 mana, 2 bodies. 3, 4 power, 3 power, 4 toughness. And then max speed. Oh, you need max speed. That is a bit of a problem. But this is another, what is it called? Aristocrat style. So whenever a creature you control dies, you get a +1, or you gain a life and the opponent loses a life, right? So it's another Blood Witch. That deck is getting really close to being good. This might be the piece that sends it over the edge. I just did like one. Oh, the Rakdos, the raid deck that came out. The 5-year raid. There's a so is it Mardu? It might be Mardu that you might need black, red, and white. But there's one legendary creature in there that has the same ability. So you're starting to get almost enough pieces to make it good. Endrider Catalyzer 1 and Catalyzer? Endrider Catalyzer. Human Warrior 1 and 1 red, 1 for a 3/1. It has Start Your Engines, and it's a mana dork. Brah, it's pretty good. Big red. It's not like, and it's not too bad for a 3/1 body, and it could crew for 3 power. It's pretty great, but I just think, a mana rock for red. So you start the game, they definitely have ways to get max speed pretty early. Probably, it's turn 3, turn 4, you have max speed. And then on turn 4, you have the mana, right? It increases once on each of your turns when an opponent loses life. So that means on turn 4, you can attack in, you do damage. Now this becomes a mana rock, and you'll have 6 mana available to you. Pretty sweet. Things you can do with red. The Gas Guzzler, 1 mana for 2/1, Start Your Engines. It enters tapped. Who cares? It's a vampire rogue, so not like a skeleton or nothing like that. Max speed, you could sacrifice another creature and draw a card. Just a really great ability. Like, they try to kill your creatures. The only caveat of it is you need that max speed. Put it right there, maybe. Seems pretty good. You need that max speed to be able to protect your creatures. But once you do, I think there's a spell. Well, I guess there's a spell that draws you 2 cards for sacrificing a creature. But if the creature's going to die anyway, type of thing, or if it replaces itself, or if you're in that aristocrat style deck where you're sacking your creatures. This doesn't need to be in there, though. This is just a great 1 black, you kill my creature, I sack it. Sunfall, I sack every single creature that I can, besides the gas because they're depending on my mana. Pretty nice. I think it's just a pretty decent card. 1/2, 2/1 for 1 mana is pretty good. And the Gastral Thrill Seeker, 1 black, 1 red, 2/3. Start your engines. When it enters, it does 1 damage, and you gain life. And then it's also a lizard, that's important. And then max speed, this creature gets Death Touch and has haste. So later on, so on turn 2, you have speed of 2 because it starts your engines, it pings your opponent, you get speed 2 on turn 2. And then later on, when you cast the next one of these, it's almost into the spicy realm. I think if I'm going to put this in spicy, if Start Your Engines is any good, it's going to be because of this card right here. Because it's just a guaranteed 2 on turn 2. 2 speed on turn 2. I'm going to put it in the spicy. Glory Hearth Links. 1 and 1 white for 2/3 lifelinker. And when it attacks while saddled, you get the Plains and Saddle of 2. I think it's a pretty good Brock card. Ramping with white. I'm not sure what white needs to ramp, but I think there's some pricey cards in there that need it. Gonti Knight Minister. 2 and 2 black for a 3/4. And when a player casts a spell they don't own, that player creates a treasure token. And so how do you get spells that you don't own? Whenever a creature deals combat damage to one of your opponents, its controller looks at the top card, which is you. Or I guess if you could take control of their creature, its controller, not owner, I see, at the top of that opponent's library and exiles it face down. They may play that card for as long as it remains exiled. Mana of any type may be used. So it doesn't matter if Gonti dies later. I'm pretty sure all cards exiled that way. And if you're going like big and wide, not big and wide. If you're just going wide, not big, where you're doing 5 creatures deal damage, then you get 5 cards. Pretty good card right there. Greenbelt Guardian, 1 and 1 green for a 2/2. Target creature gains trample until end of turn, and exhaust 3. Put 3 +1/+1 counters on it, so it becomes a 5/5 on turn 4. That's not too bad. And then I like this target creature gains trample as a way to commit crimes. I know crimes have been kind of not around, but there's that green creature that when you commit a crime, you get to get a land into play, and it curves in nicely to this one because this is on 2 and that's on 3. And then sure, you need to wait a turn or have an elf in play, Land of War Elves. I think this is just a really good, all good card. 2/2 for 2 is great. You can give something big trample. There's a 12/8 or something creature that doesn't have trample, just basic and basic vanilla. You get those vanilla bitches in there, and you just 1 mana, I get a trample. You're always looking for cards to give trample. Not too bad there. The Guide Light Synergist, 3 and white for 0/4. And this creature gets +1/+0 for each artifact you control. So it's not really a 0/4. It's, I don't know, 5/4 something. I'm going to put this in the combo section because this is a deck that's going to be coming up, I think. Artifact, Azorius, blue-white is going to be a thing. Guide Light Matrix. 2 mana for an artifact. When it enters, you draw a card, which is great. It replaces itself, so even if it does nothing else in the game. And you can pay 2, target mount, you become control saddled, or and that's only as a sorcery because you can only saddle, or you can only mount as a sorcery, which I don't really know why you would mount on an opponent's turn. I guess you could mount in the middle of combat, I guess. Maybe, I don't know. Anyways. But, mount is only a sorcery anyway. Target vehicle you control becomes an artifact until end of turn. So this is another way, like I was saying with this green card, to make your artifacts and vehicles, mounted, crewed, or whatever, without creatures, right? So if you only have one creature, one mount out, you can pay 2 mana and saddle it by itself. And sometimes the saddle cost is pretty expensive. So I would almost like to put this up into the A tier. It's a pretty great card in a set. It's going to be good for the set. I don't know like if it's going to be like super playable, but it's a pretty good card. Haunt the Network. 3 for a blue and a black. Sorcery. It creates 2 Thropters, and then player loses X life, and you gain X life for X is the number of artifacts you control. So while the blue-white is going to be interesting, black has also another way that could be interesting. So you might even have, while blue-white is going to be good, you might even go into the Esper colors and just splash this card in there just to have, a way to finish them off just because you have a bunch of artifacts. All right, halfway there, whatever. Hull Squad Heavy. 2 and a red for 2/3. Start your engines. Other goblins you control have haste. At the beginning of your combat, on your turn, create a 1/1 red. This is, if goblins are going to be a thing, this is the card. I don't even know if that's the thing. Goblins are pretty decent. Will this push goblins over the edge? Maybe. Or it's just a really great token maker also. So you create a goblin token that's attacking and enables raid. So you get that raid goblin. You just cast this guy next turn, and then you attack him with that goblin that's attacking, right? And then you make a new one from the raid goblin. So, yeah. I think it's just another piece of the goblin deck, and yeah, pretty good. Ketramos. The New Dawn. 1 white, 1 black, 4/4. Menace and indestructible lifelink. Can't attack or block unless you have 7 or more cards in exile. And then when 1 or more cards are put in exile from a graveyard during your turn, you draw a card and lose a life. Definitely a combo card. Pretty nice, interesting build around. Exiling cards, exiling creatures. You could kill your opponent's creature, send it to exile, and you draw a card. You blink out your creatures, you draw a card, right? You Ren's Resolve, or exile top cards of your graveyard to cast them some other time. You draw cards. Kolodin Triumph Caster. 1 red, 1 white, 2/3. Mounts vehicles have haste. When a mount enters, it becomes saddle. When a vehicle enters, it becomes an artifact creature. So that basically you could attack with them when they cast. This is a pretty great card. I like it. I want to put it in the A tiers. It's not quite... I don't think there's enough vehicles or mounts that are great, but this is definitely like maybe even... this thing could go down a little bit. I think, I don't know, maybe here. That's just a good, better than summon. But yeah, I think this will definitely be in, mount vehicles decks. Pretty good. 2/3 is a pretty good body for 2. Loot the Pathfinder. 2 green, red, blue, 2/4. Double strike, vigilance, haste, so you can activate its exhaust ability. Exhaust ability is you get 3 mana, so you could spend 8 mana, 7 mana, because you have to spend 1 green to do it. So yeah, you're probably not doing that. So you have to have 6 mana to when you cast this. This is basically a 6-drop, so that you can draw 3 cards or do 3 damage. Loot is pretty good. Pretty high up there. Almost a spicy. Not quite there yet, though. Yes, dear. Next up. Magmakin Artillerist. 2 and a red for 1/4. Whenever you discard 1 or more cards, this creature deals that much damage to each opponent. Cycling. So you can discard itself if you have this synergy. And when you cycle this card, it deals 1 damage to each opponent. So not only that, this is definitely like... a deck that's coming, and it might even be like a spicy S tier deck, but definitely going to put this in combo piece for that deck. The Marauding Mako. 1 for a 1/1, and when you discard one or more cards, you put that many +1/+1 counters on it. It doesn't have trample or anything, but and red, I can't imagine that that's a problem. But with the, I mean, this is just pretty high up there. I'm telling you. There's also the bird coming up later on. That's pretty good. Yeah, I'm just gonna put this in the combo deck. This is like these cards just all go together. Discard cards, put counters, do damage. Pretty good. The Market Back Walker XX00. This creature enters with X +1/+1 counters on it. So for 2 mana, it's a 1/1. Not that great, but then for 4 mana, you could put a +1/+1 counter on this creature. And then when it dies, you get to draw a card for each +1/+1 counter on it. So ideally, this is like, in the +1/+1 counters decks, ways to increase the number of +1, like doubling season or Innkeeper's Talent, that type of situations. Mamoplasm, Revered One, X in a black, green, and a blue. And it enters, you exile X creatures from your graveyard, and it enters with 3 +1/+1 counters on it for each creature you exile that way. And then you can pay 2 mana to make it become a copy of one of those creatures. And has this ability. It's a pretty decent card, I think. It has to be in the right deck, and I have to go combo with this one. I would like to put it in the Bruh, but yeah, maybe it could just be in the Bruh. It doesn't really need to be in type of a mill strategy combo, maybe just your stuff dying. But yeah. From your graveyard, though, so it has to be from yours, so you need some good stuff. But there's definitely ways to mill in green and black, and blue has this card, so I think it's definitely a Bruh. Could even put it up a little bit ahead of those guys for sure. Maybe even ahead of the activate equipment. And the Medicant Core Guidelight. Medicant? 1 blue, 1 white for a star 3, and its power is equal to the number of artifacts you control. Start your engines. When you have max speed, whenever you cast an artifact, you pay 1 to copy it. So not only is its power based on the number of artifacts, when you cast another artifact, then you can pay 1 extra mana, and it basically gives you 2 power to this creature. This is bananas. We do have these other cards that are in the combo section that do, that help out and are, he's also a legendary artifact. He also has so he's always a 1/3 at minimum. But definitely this artifact synergy deck. And if the artifact synergy deck becomes a thing, this is the card that just takes it to the next level. There's also some, then you just copy artifacts. So you Portal of Phyrexia for 10. Or something, I don't know. You Simulacrum for 4, and you get a copy of it. Just for having max speed. So you need to get max speed, that's true. But, power, bro. Momentum Breaker, 1 and 1 black. And start your engines. This enters, opponent sacks a creature or an artifact. Or a vehicle, not an artifact. They're the same thing to me. And then if they can't, they discard a card, and then Pixie Bounce. So you sack a creature if you can't. So it's like the Tithing Blade plus discard. And it's an enchantment, so it's even harder to remove. Oh, I had to put it up into S tier. But Pixie Bounce is going to love this card, because I'll deal with your creature. Maybe it kills maybe it doesn't kill your hand, but it's killing your creatures. And then I'm just going to pick it up anyway and bounce it again. And now, if you don't have a creature out, you discard a card. It doesn't do the 2 damage that the Nightmare does, but if they're running Tithing Blades, this replaces Tithing Blade 100%, and it's an enchantment, helps out with your draw card for your enchantment, blah blah. Ugh. Morganda Raceway, maybe the best of these crappy lands. Start your engines lands. You add colorless, or you add 2 colorless when you tap it. It's good for like later in the game, but I'm just gonna put this in a don't. Unless you're playing like single pip colors with mana value. So if you do this on turn, it only gets value on turn 1. Otherwise, you just play other Start Your Engine cards, right? And then the next value that it gets is on turn 4, right? When you have max speed, and then maybe you get a mana advantage. I don't see it. There's just better. I don't know, better stuff. If if you don't mind getting screwed over on mana, the Pearlless Snare, 2 and a white. It has starter engines. When this artifact enters, exile a non-land permanent, and until this artifact leaves, and then you could tap it when you have max speed to put a +1/+1 counter on vehicle. Just a great removal spell. Like Shelter by Ghost is around all over the place, and I think there's people starting to figure out Shelter by Ghost. They're getting around the hexproof and the ward and stuff, and this has the ability to take a creature. Sure, it doesn't give you the lifelink, but later in the game it starts to become a +1/+1 counter machine for free. You just tap it. Pit Automaton, 2 for the 0/4 defender, and it has tap it to add 2 to activate abilities, or you could pay 2, and when you activate your next exhaust ability, copy it and make, and you get new targets. It's definitely, this is in there for that second part. Exhaust, I don't know how strong exhaust is going to be. It's going to be pretty decent. We do have that in the combo section, so we're going to put this part over here with this combo girl. She lets you do more, and that lets you double that for 2 mana. So for loot, you can do, for 3 mana, you can draw 6 cards every turn. Definitely combo potential. The Radiant Lotus, 6 mana, sacrifice 1 or more artifacts, choose a color. Target player adds 3 mana of the chosen color for each artifact sacrificed this way. I've already been talking about the artifact. This is a combo card. I'm very excited about this card. I think this card could, pop off majorly. There's also sacrifice decks where you want to sacrifice things and you get benefits for sacrificing things. And so if you're just doing that in general and it helps out your deck, making a ton of mana to cast something big, Omniscience maybe or something, it could sack itself. 1 or more artifacts. Redshift, Rocketeer, Chief. 1 red, 1 green, 2/3. Vigilance. Add X mana of any one color where X is a Radiant Shift's power. Spend that mana to activate abilities. So that means it could do it to itself to make it cost only 10 to exhaust. And when you exhaust, you can put permanents from your hand into the battlefield. But if you can get this guy's power up to something good, then the exhaust ability is a lot cheaper by him powering himself up. And yeah, it's a pretty good card, brah. I like it. Pretty good. And I don't know what, like spending it on mana abilities, that hasn't been that great, but for 2/3 with Vigilance, so you can attack in, and then you can use the ability, pretty good. Activate abilities includes class, upgrading classes and stuff, so that's pretty good. Riptide Gearhulk, 1, 2 white, 2 blue, 2/5, double strike, prowess. Those are all like not important. When it enters, for each opponent, put up to 1 target non-land permanent that player controls onto the 3rd from the top of their library. That is the part that makes this card very interesting. Also, it's an artifact. I'd rather it be a vehicle because you can bounce artifacts very easily, and if you do, pretty good. You can also copy artifacts very easily. So I have to put this Gearhulk up into the A tiers. It's pretty sweet, pretty good. Although you can combo with it, and you probably should combo with it, so maybe it should be in the combo, but I think it's just a pretty powerful card. You take their creature, non-land permanent, and you put it third. They have to recast it in 3 turns. River Turn Momentum, 1 and 1 blue, 1 mana, any number of target players each mill 2 cards, and then for 4 mana, which is 2 and 2 blue, you can any number of target players each mills cards equal to the number of cards in their graveyard. So if you Jace for 15 cards in their graveyard, so they have 15 cards in their graveyard, and you use the exhaust ability, they're going to put 15 cards in your graveyard. If you copy that exhaust ability, because you can, or you just do it again next turn, the game is over. So this puts like mill in a crazy spot, right? Like if you can mill them out just a little bit, and you could use this exhaust ability, use it again, blink this artifact, use it again, cast another copy of it, and use it, because you have 4 in your deck. I think pretty crazy mills. There's also like the one that you could just bring back from the graveyard and mills half their library, and then you just use this exhaust ability in the next turn, and yeah, done. Could be viable. Sab Sunue Luxa Embodied. 3, a green and a blue, 6/6. So 5 mana, you get a 6/6 reach, trample, indestructible that can block on the turn it has, and it can only block or attack when it has even number of counters. And at the beginning of your first main phase, put a +1/+1 counter on it. Then if it has a number, you draw 2 cards. So this really is man, I want to put it up in the S tier, but it's very combo-y. This is like Innkeeper's Talent with this, so that I could put +1 counter. You need some way to manage +1/+1 counters. Maybe even if there's a way to take off +1/+1 counters, that'd be great. Pretty powerful card. 6/6, draw cards, trample, indestructible. You know, it's not getting no -3/-3 to it. And then you're gonna put a +1/+1 counter on it, so it's gonna be a 7/7 on the next turn. And if you could attack with it, just attracts a what? Scourging Sky Ray, 2, or it's 1/1 blue for 2 for 1/2. 1 and 1 blue for 1/2 with flying. When you discard 1 or more cards, put that many +1/+1 counters on this creature. So, is this better than the red one? I don't know, but like that's, you know, those 3 cards are the deck, right? Like, and then you have that black card. I don't know. It's going to be pretty crazy. They're also pirates, to be fair. Like, those are both pirates, so you get some pirate themes in there. And I don't know if pirates has discard effects that I could think of offhand. Mostly just draw, right? The last ride gets X -X -S, where X is your total life total. 13/13, 1 black. And it's pay 2 and a black, 2 life to draw a card. Nah, bro. This is for the boomers, or I don't know. It's even before my time. Okay, I have a 13/13 creature, and I have a 12/12 creature, and I have 1 life. Okay, I'm pretty sure you could just do 1 damage to me, and pay 2 life and draw a card for 3 mana. That's a spell that I'd have in my deck. I'd rather sack a creature or something. I don't know. Like, that's the best part about this card, is pay 2 life to draw a card. I'm gonna put don't. Probably get reamed in the comments or something, but no thanks, bro. I don't know. Maybe I'm not seeing it. Crew 2. You also need creatures on a board. If you don't have creatures on a board, it's not a 13/13 or a 12/12. It'll never be a 13/13. So yeah, it'll be like a 5/5 or something. What does it do you? Speed Demon, 3 and 2 black for a 5/5 trample demon flying. 5 mana for 5/5. Pretty good. Start your engines at the beginning of your end step. You draw X cards where X, and lose X life where X is your speed. So if you have some way to gain life, say on an Unholy Annex, and you get a speed of 2, then you're breaking even. A speed of 3, you're losing 1 life. A speed of 4, you're losing 2 life. You're drawing 4 or 5 cards because if you have the Annex out. This card is pretty busted. It's kind of pricey, so it is 5 mana. We'll put it over there. This mill can go above this. Yeah. Leverage is still the best though. Pretty great card. With Sheldred still around, stupid Sheldy. Top tier Fornicator. Oh shit. Fabricator. Though it probably is fornicating to make those top tiers. 2 and a blue for a 4/4. We have this effect, like, I'm gonna put this over in this don't column. Like, I want to use it. There's so many creatures that make other creatures when you do things, like draw your second card, right? There's the one that makes the fairies. There's the Iron Cast, whatever, in Izzet colors, where it makes soldiers when you cast a sorcery instant spell, right? There's the monk, right? Where, you know, you cast a non-creature spell and it makes more monks. You always get caught by that. I want this card to be good, and I'm like, oh, it's a vehicle, so it can't be killed. It's harder to be killed. But you still need to draw 2 cards, and I don't know. I'm gonna put it in the don't. I want to put it in the combo because I'm gonna play with it, but I probably should put it in the don't because those cards never work and it's just too slow, right? You can only get one creature a turn, or maybe two creatures at the most. Tune-up, 3 and a white. You return an artifact from the graveyard to the battlefield. If the vehicle becomes an artifact creature permanently, we have Zombify. I put it in the bra. I don't really like using Zombify. I don't really use it for reanimation, but you can reanimate, Portal or some other creature or a vehicle that becomes a permanent creature, like Zombify. Pretty cool. Unstoppable Plan, 2 and a blue. At the beginning of your end step, untap all non-land permanents you control. Combo piece for sure. I'm gonna try to break it. Other than that, I don't know. I don't know what permanents can do. So artifacts that you tap, non-land artifacts, mana value, mana stuff, pretty good. Vinwix, verbose host. 1 and 1 blue for 0/4. Start your engines. You have no maximum hand side. If you have maximum speed, when you draw a card, you draw a second card. Sheldred gonna kill me, but I think this is a pretty good card, right? Once you get the max speed, the card advantage is gonna provide. Sure, like they're enduring, whatever courage or whatever it is to draw cards. The blue one is pretty sweet looking, but this one, like, you could play more of a control-y game, a slower game. You don't have to have go such a wide board type of situation. You could play a completely different game, right? And also, when you have any creature that you play that when it enters battlefield you draw a card, or Rona where you tap to draw a card and discard a card. Now I'm getting 2 cards, right? And so I get to that turns into card advantage, right? So. And if you have the Enduring out and you draw, 4 cards with 4 creatures, you draw 8 cards. So that's also nice. I hear it's a good card. Voyage Home, 5, 1 white, 1 blue. Sorcery, affinity for artifacts, which means it costs you 2 mana to draw 3 cards and gain 3 life. That's a pretty good one. All good, bro. Yeah. So that's my set review. No, these are just the cards I like. The Verges, definitely the strongest of the pieces. Definitely look for the Is It discard. And also the Azorius artifacts. Or maybe Esper artifacts? Esper? Yeah. Mill's a thing that's coming. Mono red. Kind of more mid-rangey speed type of situation. More mid-range mono red, I think. I don't know what that does, what those are. That's the problem with using the images. That was some pretty cool stuff. I'm really looking forward to the set and can't wait to see it. But thanks for sticking with me. This has been Told. Like and subscribe. See you next time.